I was just out there practicing, so good luck. Um, hmm. when, when you think of New York City neighborhoods, you usually think of turf, like, the Jets and the Sharks. But I really didn't find it to be that way in my neighborhood. You needed, you needed a pinch hitter for your pickup baseball game. You went wherever you could. But that's not to say that neighborhoods weren't distinct and didn't have boundaries. Our street had 8 solidly middle-class homes, but backing up to them were a larger number of homes. They were cramped, they were a little shabby. And across the street from them, there were really shabby homes and some small apartment buildings with tar paper siding and doors that never closed. And that's where we found Randy, our pinch hitter. Randy came with an entourage: Zipper, his brother, Nate, his cousin, and John Tomlin, who we never could figure out. And part of the reason was John Tomlin never really knew what his last name was. Sometimes it was Thompson, sometimes it was Tomlin, sometimes it was Tompkins. So we gave him right field because he could do the least damage there. But not everyone was particularly thrilled with our baseball team. A couple of the people on our street had a meeting with my father to talk about the kids that his kids had brought into the neighborhood. It was pretty apparent to my father that this was about skin color and not geography. Now, my father was a Kennedy liberal on steroids, plus he was an activist attorney. So he's not the kind of guy that's going to receive well some discussion about who his kids are playing with. But he took it with grace, and we noticed a big difference in our relationship with these kids. My father hired them to do chores around the house, mowing the lawn, trimming the hedges. Most of them were outdoor chores because that was the way my father gave a slap in the face to our neighbors. John Tomlin, however, had indoor chores where he could be supervised. I was very resentful of this because my father paid them. I didn't get paid for doing chores, and when I confronted my father, he said, "But you don't do your chores." I didn't understand how he favored those kids over me. But my father just didn't want to put them to work. He wanted them to have fun. And so he signed them up for swimming lessons at the local Y. Every Thursday, they'd pile them up into the car, and they'd go off to their swimming lessons, and they would come back, and they would invariably erupt in some towel snapping contest. And sure enough, John Tomlin got the brunt. On Thursdays, while they were off getting their swimming lessons, I was at Girl Scouts. Girl Scouts confounded me. I didn't get the badge thing. I thought in order for you to get a badge, you needed hard evidence, eyewitnesses, and some authority figure who could really validate that you deserve that badge. That's what being a lawyer's daughter will do to you. But my friend Meg set me straight. Her mother was a troop leader, and one afternoon she had us sweeping and dusting and doing dishes, chores to be sure, but this time with a reward. I was to get a junior homemaker badge. On the Thursday that I got the badge, I was very excited, and when my father came home, naturally there were a pile of kids running around the house. My mother said, "Guess what happened today?" And I was halfway out the kitchen to go get my badge to show my father when she said, "John Tomlin passed his swimming test today." Sorry. Now, I couldn't tell you a thing about what that homemaker badge looks like. I can sure tell you that I didn't do it any justice when I became an adult. But I remember every detail of John Tomlin's reaction when my mother announced in front of his friends that he had done something that they hadn't done. He was incandescent. And when my mother put his arm around his shoulder and drew him close, I thought he would never let go of her. But he did. He stood up and reached out to shake my father's hand, because that's what men of accomplishment do. Now, I don't know whatever happened to John Tomlin. Any number of scenarios could have. But I know when I think of him, I remember how proud I am that I came from a family that stood up to some ignorant neighbors and helped a downtrodden little boy understand the meaning of possibility. Thank you.